Florida sky. Friday night's calling and the towns go quiet. From Doug Shaw Memorial to John McKissick Field, Carolina football, it's the heart we feel. Pickup trucks line up, tailgates in a row, hot stadiums rocking, Abbeville's ready to go. The Sumter Gamecocks charge, Gaffney's standing tall, every small town's dreaming beneath the lights of fall. Four-quarter Friday, where the heart beats pound, Carolina shuts down every town. From the first snap to the final play, we're living for the glory of a four-quarter Friday. In Gilbert, America, the bleachers fill with pride. Cheerleaders shout, the band's playing, no one's staying inside. The boys in pads hit hard, chasing that old dream. Under stadium lights, it's more than just a team. Mamas clutch their programs, daddies yell the calls, grandpas talk of legends in these hallowed football halls. From the low country marshes to the upstate's clay, four-quarter Friday lights the Carolina way. Four-quarter Friday, where the heart beats pound, South Carolina shuts down every town. From the first snap to the final play, we're living for the glory of a four-quarter Friday. Shaw's roar to McKissick's sacred ground. Hot stadiums fire, you can feel the sound. Sumter Gamecocks fly, Gaffney holds a line, J-Mo run the dang ball, we're screaming for a sign. Rivalries burn bright, the clock's ticking down. On four-quarter Friday, we're the talk of town. When the whistle blows and the scoreboard fades away, the lessons from the field guide us every day. Teamwork, grit, and pride, it's more than just a score. Carolina football's what we're fighting for. From the PD rivers to the upstate's misty hills, four-quarter Friday gives our hearts a thrill. Four-quarter Friday, where the heart beats pound, South Carolina shuts down every town. From the first snap to the final play, we're living for the glory of a four-quarter Friday. So here's to the Palmetto boys, giving it their all on a four-quarter Friday. South Carolina stands
tall. Welcome to Four-Quarter Friday, part of the Chief Sports Network, talking South Carolina high school sports every Friday morning. Hosted by Justin Hall and Steve Hall, with weekly appearances from coaches, players, and media around the state. Let's go! Here's Justin and Steve. Happy Friday!
Good Friday morning to you. Glad you're with us on Four Quarter Friday. Justin Hall, Steve Hall, reminder no relation on the Four Quarter Friday show on the Chief Sports Network. We got a loaded slate for you. Been talking about it all week. I've been dreaming about a Friday like this for a long time, folks. Here's why. I don't know what it's like in the low country for you right now, Scott, but I woke up this morning and we're nearing the 49-degree mark in the Midlands.
Yeah.
It is perfect. Scott Iceberg joins us from the Low Country, ABC4 down there, because we have Scott on because we have a big matchup, a lot of them in the Low Country. But there's one that's got our attention, and it's a big one. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. We want to remind you there are a loaded slate of big-time rivalry and region matchups tonight. And the Chief Sports app is where you can go to get the scores on all those as the night progresses. You can find your scores on the Chief Sports app. You can stream some of these games on the Chief Sports app. And that's what I love about high school football in 2025, guys. Just about every team now is streaming their games in some way, shape, or form, radio, YouTube. I know it makes the job a lot easier for a TV guy on a Friday night trying to collect those scores. Scott, we're glad you're with us. Welcome aboard. We're glad to have you in on Four Quarter Friday.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Looking forward to it. The nice cool weather is nice, but we're supposed to get pretty bad rain tonight, so it's going to be maybe it affects the game. They do have a turf field at McKissick Field, so that is good. As far as the field conditions go, but I think we're going to have a wet, cold, rainy night tonight.
Which is unusual for early October, especially down in the Low Country. I'll put it that way. Normally, we're about this time of year. We're normally rescheduling games due to some sort of tropical system. So I'm glad we're avoiding that this year because last year was just a mess. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this game. We'll lead it off with this one, Scott. We'll try to get you in and out of here quick because you got a busy day ahead. James Island is at Summerville. James Island, by the way, guys, is one of the last undefeated teams in high school football. I ran the numbers before games last night because that might have changed some things. There are only 16 teams in high school football that are still unbeaten across the entire state, across every classification, all the way down to 8-man football in Skeeza. So there aren't many of them. But James Island's one of those teams, Scott, that has for the last 3 or 4 years really just been consistent, and now they have an opportunity to go into Summerville tonight and get a big-time region win and probably put themselves in position to clinch that region within the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Jamar McCoy has done an incredible job at James Island. I mean, no doubt. I don't know if I've seen a better coaching job in the Low Country, just as far as a trajectory, a turnaround. I've been here 19 years, and I mean, the job he's done is about as good as any coach I've ever seen. Because James Island was, a bottom of the region type team every year when he got there. And it just immediately turned. He changed the culture. He changed the feeling. I mean, it used to be the backyard is where they play. It's a big, big cement stadium. And for years, I mean, it was empty when you would show up there. And now you show up and it is packed. I mean, he's got the island invigorated. And the cool thing about it is that he really doesn't have competition over there for getting, if you look in Mount Pleasant, you've got Wando and you've got Beckham and then you've got Oceanside and Bishop England and all the schools that are over east of the Cooper River. On James Island, there's really not any type of competition. So if you can get folks on the island excited, you've got a really good base of talent there. And he's just kind of taking it to the next level and they just keep getting better. I mean, James Island, you look at them, they're athletic, they're big. They look like a legitimate 5A power, which in the past James Island did not.
Scott, thanks for joining us. Steve Hall, it's nice to see you. I've been following your work for a long time. You do such a good job of covering the teams down there, and we got to get into some games, and so we're obviously the big heavy hitter down there. We'll get to in a second, but first, I wanted to ask you about another big game down there. Lucy Beckham is hosting Stratford. Stratford coming off a massive victory against Berkeley, and I think a 17-0 comeback. Down 17-0 at the end of the first half, and comes back and wins it 21-17. What do you expect to see out of this game tonight?
I think Stratford wins it. I do. I mean, I think Beckham gives them a run for their money. But I mean, Beckham has been up and down. I mean, they've been a decent team, but I mean, I think they went to overtime last week with Kane Bay. I mean, I think they'll probably end up in the grand scheme of things being an average team in 5A, if not a little bit better than average. But I think Stratford is as good now as they've been in 12, 13 years. I mean, I think it was 12 years ago they made it to a state title when they lost to Northwestern with Mason Rudolph playing quarterback for Northwestern. But yeah, Stratford's really good. Stratford is very good. I think they showed that against Somerville, playing to the end with Somerville, and then just some dominant wins thrown in there, and then going up to Daniel and winning was big, and then I think the biggest thing you could do is if you're Stratford to go and beat, like you said, they were down 17-0 at the half to Berkeley and came back and won 21-17. And it's all around their quarterback, Jakin Davis. He's just so poised. He's so good. Going to play for Jamie Chadwell and Liberty next year. If he's not drafted in the Major League Baseball draft, I mean, I think he's probably a good enough baseball player. He can get some sniffs there too. And yeah, Denny's just he's worked the program really well, and he cares deeply about it. He's an alum of the program, and yeah, it's pretty cool to see Stratford what they're doing right now.
One more quick one for you, Scott. You mentioned Bishop England, and I love talking about the battling bishops of Bishop England because I just like alliteration. But they're a really good football team under Coach Logan Hall. And I host a scoreboard show on Friday nights, and last Friday, we're sitting there looking at scores rolling in on Twitter, thanks to you and Lou and Chris and Ian and all these other guys who are covering these games for us. And I see this score from Bishop England come through, and my jaw drops to the floor. I'm thinking, man, is Bishop England about to get run out of a building tonight? Your takeaway from that game from Bishop England, again, they weren't run out of the building by any stretch, but it was a bit of a shocking result, in my opinion, to Hilton Head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now
It was bad. It was like, what, 51-13 or something?
Yeah,
something crazy like that.
It was insane. And now they have to go on the road to a May River team that I am well acquainted with because they came in week 1 and took my Airport Eagles behind the woodshed, and I don't think Airport's recovered since. So they got a tough matchup tonight against May River. What are you going to expect from that Coach Logan Hall Bishop England team?
Well, I mean, I thought I was pumping their tires for weeks just because I was like, man, they are just demolishing teams in front of them, just demolishing teams. And I mean, their offense is lethal. But then you look at it and you're like, man, their defense is really good too. They're not giving up very many points. I think that was probably a wake up call at Hilton Head for sure. I would think they react to that wake up call. I'm sure they don't want to have to go back to Beaufort County tonight, which they do, but. Bishop England is really a good team. I mean, I think they have, when you have a great quarterback, that always helps. They do. Quinn Mahoney's going to Campbell to play. And then they have this 3-headed monster. There's 3 brothers, the Tonin brothers, who are really good players, especially on defense. But one of them is also their running back. They've had a couple of elite wide receivers this year. I mean, I think Bishop England rights the ship. I think they're still a really good team this year. They might not be as big physically as other 4A teams like on the line and whatnot, but I think Bishop England has all the tools to be really good. But tonight's we'll find out a lot tonight whether they're real or it was kind of a fluke start to the season.
Yeah, they were rolling early on. I remember their point differential was just insanity,
Crazy.
And I think that's evened out a little bit after that showing against the Seahawks. One final thing for you, Scott, and we'll get you out of here.
Sure.
What's one story that you have been seeing in the Low Country that no one's talking about? A team, a coach, a player? Is it Oceanside? I mean, I feel like
Oceanside's well known. Oceanside's pretty well known. I mean, they won back-to-back state titles. Right. I mean, heck, you beat Dutch Fork, you're on the map. There's no doubt. I mean, they beat Dutch Fork. That's unbelievable to me. I mean, Brent LaPrad's done a phenomenal job. Steve LaPrad's son, and he for years he was doing a lot of the work at Fort Dorchester. Really, really good coach. And and he's got a good staff under him, and they've got players. There's no doubt. Terrence Johnson, the wide receiver, is legit. Aiden Manavian, the quarterback's really good. They've got guys all over the place. Sawyer Arnold is going to Appalachian State. I mean, you just look down that roster, and it's just D1 talent. So I don't know if they're surprising anybody. I think they're just a loaded program. I think James Island is a great story, and they've been for the last couple of years, and they still probably don't get the attention that the Somervilles and Stratfords get. But James Island is every bit as good as those teams. There's no doubt about it. The other one comes from private school, and that's Northwood Academy. I mean, they just beat Hammond. I mean, they beat Hammond. This is Northwood that Johnny Waters took over. They were 0-29 in their last 29 games when Johnny Waters took over, and they just beat Hammond.
And beat them handily.
I think Northwood Academy is probably the story right now that I look at and go, wow, that's a heck of a story. What he's done to turn them around. Johnny is a really good football coach, and they've got, I think he said, I'm not talking about the high D1 talent, but he's got like 10 guys who are going to go on and play college football. So, heck, I mean, I think they're a pretty darn good story. I think the other one that, I don't know if it's a story, but I think Wando is really starting to turn things around. They've won a couple of close games in a row. I think Ike Perrin does a really nice job there. He's also changing the culture quite a bit. I think they're a pretty good story. On the other side of things, boy, how times change. I mean, Fort Dorchester is struggling mightily this year, and you almost feel bad for Goose Creek being 0-6. Goose Creek's not that type of program. Jason Winstead's not that type of coach, but they lost their starting quarterback, their second string quarterback, and their third. I mean, they literally have nobody to play quarterback anymore. I mean, they were running like a single wing, just trying to do whatever they can. So you almost feel bad for Goose Creek. So I think that's kind of a storyline that I look at as well.
Scott Iceberg from ABC4, and I want to know how much Jamie Bradford paid you to mention Wando this morning, but that's okay. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss that off the air. Scott, we really appreciate it. That was a great breakdown of Low Country. We got to hit a break, man, but we really appreciate you joining us. Look forward to having you as we get closer to the playoffs.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, guys.
Scott Iceberg from ABC.
Football season. The Barn Dominium Company wants to help you build your dream home with your dream space to watch the games and entertain your friends and family. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. That's thebarndominiumco.com for floor plans, photo galleries, locations, and to learn more about us.
Oh, man. The building is on fire.
Emergencies and accidents happen. When you're in the middle of a fire or water event, all you want is for things to return to normal as soon as possible. Resto Pros of the Midlands is with you, guiding you through the process and working with you to get your home or office back in working order. They'll answer your questions, discuss procedures, and can act as your advocate when it comes to processing your insurance claim. RestoProsMidlandsSC.com. Open 24/7 when you need them. Quality that is guaranteed.
When playing sports, you want a coach that will fight for you. At Hewitt Diamaduros Law Firm, we've got your back. Whether it's personal injury, insurance disputes, negligence, or wrongful death, our team delivers exceptional legal services that makes meaningful difference in the lives of the individuals and families we work for. Visit hdlawsc.com. hdlawsc.com. Hewitt Diamaduros, we're on your team.
Check the statewide high school scoreboard every Friday night on the Chief Sports app.
This is Four Quarter Friday, hosted by Justin Hall and Steve Hall, taking a deep dive into high school athletics in South Carolina every Friday morning. Part of the Chief Sports Network.
Welcome back into Four Quarter Friday. Once again, thanks to Scott Iceberg for joining us as we broke down the Low Country. Again, we got a lot of games to get to now because that was just a great conversation with Scott. But really glad to hit on those. Welcome back into Four Quarter Friday. Justin Hall, Steve Hall with you. And to answer Steve's question on the screen, of course I am entertained. Let's go to the Low Country really quick. We're going to run through these because we got to hit Low Country and Midlands, and then the PD before Cole Bryson joins us at the bottom half of the show to talk about Burns and Gaffney and all other kinds of stuff in the upstate because we got really great games all across the area tonight. Stall goes to Ashley Ridge tonight. Ashley Ridge sitting at 3-0, or excuse me, 3-3, 1-0 in region. All of these games, by the way, are region games now. We finally made it. Colleton County goes to Beaufort tonight, and the Islanders of St. John's travel up to Bethune-Bowman to take on the Mohawks. The Bobcats of Baptist Hill go to Branchville tonight. The Iron Horses of Philip Simmons travel to Burke. The Bulldogs are looking to get win number 1 on the year. They are 0-4. The Fighting Jamie Bradfords, a.k.a. the Wando Warriors, 4-2, 1-0 in reach, and they're going over to Cane Bay tonight. Cane Bay has struggled. They're 1-5 on the season. We mentioned this game with Scott earlier. The Knights of Stratford are going to Lucy Beckham tonight. That again, we put out our game of the week, not games of the week that we feel are the best games in the state, and I felt bad because there are about 3 or 4 other games, Steve, that we could have put in there, and that's one of them. Yeah. And here's another one: Oceanside Collegiate's going to North Charleston. How about North Charleston? The Cougars off to a 5-1 start this season, and I can't say start anymore. They are 5-1 over the halfway point.
They stuck up on us a little bit, didn't they, Justin?
I believe
5-1, 1-0.
I believe they did. Early on, you look at these teams early on, you're like, could that be fool's gold? Could that be fool's gold? And you're kind of slow playing them a little bit. I feel like that's what people did with Miami this year in college football, but that's not our show. That's the preview show. Scott's Branch is at Cross tonight. Again, another great matchup between Scott's Branch and Cross tonight. Whale Branch goes to Edisto. The Bats of Clear Dot Charter go to Military Magnet, who are trying to get their first win on the year. Goose Creek is trying to get their first win on the year. The Gators host the Stags, and the Stags are reeling after having a 17-point lead evaporate at the hands of Stratford. Here's another great story for you. Orangeburg-Wilkinson, they're 5-0, thanks to a forfeiture, by the way. They are 5-0, undefeated. They're going to Hanahan tonight to take on the Hawks in a region matchup. Denmark-Oler is going to Hardyville. The Hurricanes are 1-6 on the year. Latta goes to Hemingway. The Saints of Calhoun County go to HKT and Nice's Hunter Connor Tyler. The Blazers of Kingstree are hosting East Clarendon. How about East Clarendon? 5-1 this season. Off to a great year so far. Here's another game that could have been a game of the week in the Low Country. The Warriors of Waccamaw are 5-1. They're going to take on Loris. How about Loris? 6-0 on the season. One of those few undefeated teams left in the state of South Carolina. We mentioned this one with Scott. The Battling Bishops of Bishop England are going to May River. That's a great matchup. Again, another possible game of the week candidate. The Wolves of Timberland are going to Academic Magnet, a 5-1, 4-2 matchup there. The Tigers of Allendale Fairfax, Steve, are trying to get their first win on the season. They're 0-6, and they travel to Ridgeland to take on the Jaguars, who are 3-4, but they're undefeated in region play, and that's what matters at this point in the season. James Island, game of the week. James Island, undefeated, going to Somerville, going to McKissick Field to take on the Green Wave of Somerville, the Fighting Preston Thorns, who are 5-1 on the year. And again, as I look over to my region standings here, I like to pull these up when I need to. This is the difference maker right here. The winner of this game is winning this region. Period. End of discussion, unless something crazy happens. How about this, Steve? James Island is outscoring their opponents 243-44 by 200 points. It's insanity. Fort Dorchester is going to West Ashley tonight. Two teams struggling, trying to get their season on track and get some region wins. And finally, the Yellow Jackets of Andrews are going to Woodland to take on the Wolverines down in the Low Country. That's your look at the Low Country. We press on. There were games last night, Steve. There were games. We play games on Thursdays now because that's a thing. How about Brooklyn Casey? Down 19-7 at the half. And Lewis Clyburn and G.A. Mangus get that offense rolling. They score 13 points in the second half and shut out Aiken in the second half. The Bearcats defeat the Green Hornets 20-19. And Westwood shuts out Spring Valley 31-0. How about Westwood this season?
Yeah.
Westwood is a whale of a season they're having over there for the Warhawks over at the Castle. They're playing really good football.
Yeah, you could say maybe one of the most improved teams and programs over the in the entire state. I mean, just with the job that Coach Burris has done coming from Lamar and in the first season, I mean, I think they've lost 2 games so far only. Yeah.
They've lost 2 games. They're now 5-2 on the season
Ridgeview.
and 2-1
Yeah.
in region. Yep.
Yep. So
Pretty
great
impressive.
turnaround. Mm-hmm.
The Great Collegiate War Eagles are going to take on the Airport Eagles at Airport. Move along. Newberry is going to Fox Creek. Okay, I'm sorry. Did you? I will tell you this. I'll give some love to my alma mater. Airport last week started a true freshman quarterback at a varsity football game. That quarterback in his first game ever in varsity threw for over 340 yards and 4 touchdowns. They lost the game by almost 40. So
they're learning how to win with a young team.
Exactly.
In a new offense, new leader of the program.
And it's going to take some time, but I'm telling you, if Nolan O'Hara is any indication, that offense is going to be high flying in about a year. And this region is difficult, but could be one to look out for. Here we go, Steve. Here's your first note of the night or of the morning. Newberry 7-0, looking for their best start since 2018, which was almost 10 years ago. They go to Fox Creek, and Fox Creek is sitting here going, "Hey, we're 5-1, and we're no slouch over here."
Yeah, I mean, Fox Creek lost a close one last week to OW, 21-13. Fox Creek's Brandon Wallace has 541 yards rushing, 499 yards passing, and 12 touchdowns. But Bryson Crawford is kind of the juice that makes that offense go very, very successfully down the field, very efficient. 827 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns. So Newberry's got their hands full, and Newberry last week trailed Silver Bluff, the same colors, 19-7 in the third quarter last week, and then rallied to win 22-19.
Yeah.
Kenton Caldwell now has 20 touchdowns, the quarterback. I mean, we heard about Newberry in week 1, week 2, I think, when we had Coach Corey Fountain on. He told us this team is really tough to play against. This offense is really good. And this will be interesting to see which team comes out on top tonight.
Absolutely. And Craig mentions in the chat that North Augusta's on a bye this week, then they get Airport next week. So looking forward to that. And Brandon makes a great point about Newberry. And I'll tell you this, he's also right about this. Newberry and Swansea, both 7-0. They play on Halloween night. Hello. You'd have 2 undefeated teams playing for a region title that night. A lot of opportunities for that, by the way. We'll get to that later. Chapin. Another situation similar to Airport, Steve. 0-6. They had some transfers out. Just can't find their way right now. They go to Lexington. Lexington's 2-4 coming off of that loss last week to open region play. They got to find something here. If they can get a few wins in region, they can sneak their way into the playoffs and get a road game in round 1. Here's another game that we're watching tonight. Ridgeview, best 4-2 team in the state, in my humble opinion, going to Lugoff Elgin. No slouch, 4-3, a region matchup, and a chance for the Demons to get a big-time win at home against the Blazers.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the player's name. You know it by heart. Yes. Ridgeview's got, their defense has got their hands full with him tonight, but Ridgeview's playing a really good defense this year. Ashton Chapman, who is QB2, now QB1 due to Trey Howard's injury in, I believe, week 0. He's been playing at a very high level, talented targets in Coleman and Jordan Mack, and Spencer Bobin has rushed for over 100 yards in 5 of 6 games. And they have a 3-headed monster at running back too.
They do.
They have speed, 2 guys with speed, and then they have power too. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight.
That's a high-flying game, in my opinion. First one to 30 might win that one, but we shall see. Got a handful of games here that we can roll right through. Lancaster is going to Dreer. Dreer sitting at 3-4, coached by former Gamecock Corey Jenkins. The Caps of Columbia are heading to Mid-Carolina to take on the Rebels tonight. The Indians of Gilbert are at Midland Valley. That's a must-win game for Gilbert, by the way, but Midland Valley's stout at 5-1. They took care of Airport last week with a running back that Their running back from Midland Valley, and I'm blanking on his name, but I can give you a stat line. You ready for this? He touched the ball 18 times. 6 of those went for touchdowns. So every third time he touched the ball, he was scoring. Just insane. Blackville Hill is going to Wagner Sally tonight. The War Eagles trying to get a win. Again, if you're going to that game in Wagner, just stop by the bakery on your way into town. You can't miss it. It's right there on your right if you're coming from the Midlands. It's delicious. AC Flora, the Fighting Tommy Moody's, are going to Richland Northeast. R&E struggling. They are really missing Will Wilson this year. 0-7 all in the year. But AC Flora, just one blemish on the record, and that was South Point. They are 6-1. The Yellow Jackets of Irmo are going to River Bluff to take on Coach Perry Parks. And the Gators got pushed around by White Knoll last week, and I don't like their chances tonight against the Yellow Jackets of Irmo. Here's another great one, another possible game of the week nominee, Steve. Pillion, 4-2, going to Saluda, also 4-2, a major region matchup between these two.
Yeah, Pillion's got a receiver that's one of the top in the state right now, and I am not going to get his name right, and so I'm not going to even try. Well, I will try. It's going to be bad. Jai,
Chunasing.
Anyways, Chunasing. Oh wow, there you go. I love it. That's why we have 2 guys on this show.
That's that play-by-play work.
Yes, exactly. I need to get the pronunciation sent to me from the coaching staff. But 40 receptions, 829 yards, and 10 touchdowns, over 100 yards receiving in every game. Last year, Saluda won this game 50-0. I don't think you're going to see the same result this year. A potential game of the week candidate.
Yeah, Coach Corey Helms got it rolling down there at Pillion. I really like what Pillion and Swansea are doing. As a Lexington County guy,
yeah,
Batesburg, Leesville last year, Pillion and Swansea this year. It's good to see. WJ Keenan goes to Silver Bluff tonight, and the American Leadership Academy Patriots go to the Rebels of Strom Thurmond. How about that? The Patriots against the Rebels tonight. The Trojans of Ridge Spring Minetta are at Williston Elko. The Blue Devils trying to get win number 1. They're 0-6. And then the game of the week in the Midlands, I don't think there's any question about it. Dutch Fork heads to White Knoll. The last time White Knoll defeated this Dutch Fork team was in 2023 as a part of a 5-loss team for Dutch Fork, but Dutch Fork avenged that loss in the state championship game as Coach Knotts defeated protege Nick Pelham. Now, Steve, these teams are sitting 5-1, 4-1 respectively. This feels to me like it's going to just be a knockdown, drag-out war right back here at the bank.
Yeah. I don't anticipate, and usually I get proved wrong when I say things like this, but I do not anticipate a lot of scoring tonight. I think this is going to be a defensive juggernaut of a game.
Yep.
Justin, Dutch Fork starting defensive line has 26. I said 26 tackles for loss. And according to one of your notes, I think you say Jaden Worth has 8 sacks on the year.
8
now,
through 5 games.
At one point in time, maybe it was last week, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, Julian Walker, the Michigan commit, had 6 out of their 12 total sacks. So somebody had some big games recently.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
I can credit that statistic to Lou Bajak, so I trust it.
Yes.
So Jaden's had a big couple of games. I also think Julian Walker's as Dutch Forks progressed through, as they matriculated through the season, teams are keying on him, which is, I mean, it's the same thing that happens with any defensive line. You got a good you got a good edge player over here. I guess that's the new vernacular. Your other guy on the other side, look at Kyle Kennard and Dylan Stewart. You're going to get that balance, and you're going to see some things change. But yeah, I don't anticipate this game getting. If you set the over/under, which you shouldn't in high school football because the number calls you, I would set the over/under at like 35. I really, really would. I don't think this game is going to be high scoring at all. At all. Maybe 17-14.
Yeah. I think I like that actually. White Knoll's defense is, I mean, not surprisingly, has only allowed 32 points this season.
Yeah.
Caleb Geronimi, and Tyon Fanning for White Knoll are going to try to make sure that defense gets going. And by the way, Caleb Geronimi's on defense as well as a corner defensive back. Man, this is setting up to be like 2 years ago.
I'm telling you, it's going to be a war. Just That's the best way I can phrase it. It's just going to be a war. And
Tom Knotts and his team has this game circled. I mean, they said over in the media this week they're coming for revenge,
which is crazy because they haven't lost this game since 2023.
Yeah.
I don't understand. You've avenged that loss twice since then. But hey, motivate your guys however you need to. I'm letting you know that White Knoll has to go to Irmo next week after this game. White Knoll's season is played out in the next 2 weeks. Just throwing it out there. We'll come back on the other side. More Four Quarter Friday on the way. We go to the PD next on a Friday morning.
Palm Casual Outdoor Patio Furniture proudly supports high school athletics across South Carolina. If it's time to make your outdoor space the best it can be, with lifetime warranties and guarantees, visit one of our Palm Casual stores in Myrtle Beach, Bluffton, Somerville, or Mount Pleasant. PalmCasual.com. PalmCasual.com. Turn on the lights. It's Friday night.
At Moultrie Insurance, our agents are working for you. Our commercial lines of coverage are well sourced and intimately chosen. We offer commercial lines of coverage such as business owners, umbrella, property, auto, or general liability coverage, and evaluate every option to find what fits you best. Like a good offensive coordinator, we will draw up the plays, but only run with what you feel comfortable. Get in touch with our quarterback, Perry Orth, or our head coach, Frank, by visiting MoultrieINS.com. MoultrieINS.com.
It's the Four Quarter Friday High School Show on the Chiefs Sports Network. Proudly covering high school athletics across the state of South Carolina. With accurate, trusted analysis, in-depth interviews with coaches, media, and players, and quality information. Hosted by Justin Hall and Steve Hall. Now back to the show. Here's Justin and Steve.
Welcome back to the Four Quarter Friday show on the Chiefs Sports Network, and we hit the PD next. Last night, we had another Thursday night game, Justin. Lower Richland Diamond Hornets scored 28 points against Wilson Tigers 13. So Lower Richland gets back up after a couple tough weeks and gets back in that winning column. Dillon Panthers, 3-3, 0-1 in region, are traveling to Aner to play the Blue Jackets 0-1. And the Lake City Panthers are 2-5, 2-1 in region, though, and going to play at the Atlantic Collegiate Armada. The St. James Sharks, 2-4, 0-1 in region, are traveling to Carolina Forest Panthers, and they are 5-1 on the year, 1-0, quietly having a really good season. The Myrtle Beach Seahawks, 4-2, are 1-0 in region and going to Conway. Just a short trip to their head coach's alma mater. They're 1-0 in region as well. And then we got the Green Sea Floyd Trojans, who are winless so far this year, going to travel to Hannah Pamplico, who is 1-5, 0-3 in region. Somebody's getting their first region win tonight. And Justin, one of our games of the week, the Crestwood Knights, 4-3, 1-2 in the region, going to play the Hartsville Red Foxes in Kellytown, who are 2-0 in region. What do you see from this game tonight?
Well, I'm just looking here. I had to grab my, again, really big thanks to High School Sports Report. They do a great job over there. Again, all these teams are chasing South Florence. There's no question about that. South Florence got a win last night. We'll touch on that here in a second. Hartsville's 2-0 in the region, Steve, but they're getting outscored on the year by 10. 237-247. So they've been outscored by 10 points. Meanwhile, you got a team in Crestwood that's 4-3, 1-2 in the region. Again, you get the 2 region wins in that region, you're making the playoffs. Period. So Crestwood has an opportunity to seal the playoffs tonight for themselves, in effect. The problem is as we say on this program quite frequently, you don't just walk into Kellytown and expect a win. So there's talent on both sides of the football. I want to see what Hartsville looks like against a team that is more comparable to them. Again, they challenged themselves in their non-region play, which I applaud greatly. But they struggled out of the gate. They were sitting at 1-3 a couple of weeks ago. They rattled off 2 wins in region to kind of get themselves right. I want to see if that carries over to tonight. They still got some big games down the road. One of them, South Florence. So they've got some big games ahead of them. That their season's in front of them. I'll put it that way. South Florence has a half game on them now at 3-0 in the region. But if you win tonight, if you're Hartsville, you're sitting at 3-0 and you're setting up a showdown with the Bruins, and basically winner wins the region. That's a huge opportunity for Hartsville to turn around what was a disappointing start to their year.
Yeah, and according to some of the coaches in Hartsville I've been able to speak with in the last month or so, they're young this year. And so small town teams, they got to go through these lumps, especially early in the season. But Coach Calabrese has been coaching football for a long time, considered one of the best coaches in the state for a while now, and there's no question about it. So, to begin the year, starting with a young team, it's, you got a lot of learning opportunities to begin with. Moving on, we got the Hampton County Hurricanes, 4-3 on the year, 1-0 in the region, traveling to Lake Marion to play the Gators, who are 3-4 and also 1-0 in the region. The Carvers Bay Bears, 7-0, 3-0 in the region, traveling to Lakeview to play the Gators, 3-2, 1-1 in the year. Interesting game there, Justin.
Yeah.
Georgetown Bulldogs, who are winless so far this year, traveling to Marlboro County to play the Bulldogs, 5-1, 1-0 in the region. They're going to have a hard time tonight. They're very talented up there in Bennettsville.
Yeah.
C.A. Johnson, the Green Hornets, 2-4, 0-1 in the region, traveling to McBee to play the Panthers. The Manning Monarchs, 3-3, 1-1 in region, are playing the Mullins Auctioneers in Mullins tonight. And the Chiefs of North Myrtle Beach, 2-4, 0-1 on the year, playing Socastee in Braves country, 1-5, 0-1 in the year. And then last night, you hit on this earlier, South Florence hosted the Lakewood Gators in one of their few home games this year and won 49-0. And then lastly, our last game in the PD, Blythewood Bengals, 3-4, 1-2 in the region, traveling to West Florence, 2-4 in the year, 1-1. And I believe we may have a few minutes, Justin, to cover the state rankings before we hit a quick break and bring Cole Bryson on to talk upstate.
Absolutely.
Justin, let's talk first 5A rankings. All right.
Well, 5A, again, I want to remind folks that 5A is split into 2 divisions. So what really is going to matter for playoff positioning in those 2 divisions, Division 2 is RPI. Keep that in mind. This is not RPI. Irmo is the number 1 team in 5A, according to the media, with 15 first-place votes. Northwestern is number 2, getting the remaining 3. There were 18 total votes to go around. Dutch Fork, Somerville, James Island round out the top 5. So a 4 versus 5 matchup with Somerville and James Island. Dorman is 6. Greenwood is 7. Ridgeview 8. Burns 9. And White Knoll 10. Gaffney, Hannah, Sumter, Greenville, Indian Land all receiving votes. What does Indian Land got to do to get ranked? I don't know. Gaffney is going to Burns, so that's basically an 11 versus 9. White Knoll is hosting Dutch Fork. That's a 10-3. Greenville is going to Greenwood. That's a 11, 12, 13, 14 going to a 7. So if you look at those kind of matchups, it's insane what's going on in this state tonight. I'm telling you, it's going to be the best Friday night of the year. In 4A, South Point's the number 1 team, followed by South Florence. Then AC Flora, Gray, Daniel round out the top 5. North Augusta, Hilton Head, after that win over Bishop England, is number 7. Seneca is 8. Camden is 9. Sneaky, quiet, 5-2. And Bishop England falls to number 10. Midland Valley, Wren, and May River receiving votes there. In 3A, the Bears, BHP, 7-0. They're number 1, followed by Oceanside Collegiate. Newberry, Loris, and Mountain View Prep comes in at number 5. Woodruff, OW, Marlboro County, Swansea, and Dillon round out your top 10 with Christchurch and Powdersville receiving votes. We'll talk about that Powdersville team here in a minute. In 2A, Central gets all 18 first-place votes. They're 6-0. Fairfield Central, the Griffins are 2. The Red Devils of Clinton are 3. How about Clinton? 4-3. Best 4-3 team in the state? Probably. They're still really good, y'all. Strom Thurmond is number 4. Timberland comes in at number 5. Hampton County, Philip Simmons, Saluda, Batesburg, Leesville, and Chesney round out the top 10. And basically everybody's receiving votes in 2A. In Class 1A, Bamberg Earhart's number 1. There's a tie at 2. Abbeville and Cross are tied at number 2. Ware Shoals is number 4, 6-0. Carvers Bay is number 5, 7-0. And then here's your remaining of the top 10. Johnsonville, the Flashes are off this week. Lance lets us know, but they're coming in at number 6. Latta is 7. The Fighting Tommy Suggses of Lamar are 8. Louisville 9. And Hunter Kiner Tyler rounds out the top 10 in Class 1A. Spoiler, a lot of top 10 and highly ranked matchups tonight across every single region of this state. It's going to be insanity.
And before we hit a quick break and we bring Cole on from the Fan, guys, 2A and 1A are some of the most foreshadowing the playoffs.
Yep.
Yep. Who in the world is going to win those? I mean, you got 3-4 teams, in my opinion, just looking at some of the results so far that have come down the pipe.
Yeah.
It's coin flip.
I told JB yesterday, I think that in at least 3 of these regions or 3 of these classifications, you're going to have teams either playing for or winning a state championship you would have not seen coming. I really think that. I believe that the talent disparity is very even right now across every classification. But Steve, like you mentioned, in 2A and 1A, sure, Fairfield Central and Central at the top. But am I going to count out Saluda? Not the way they're playing. Not in 2A. And then if I look at 1A. I got to
disagree a little bit on 4A. I think South Point is going to be really hard to beat for the trophy. I mean,
sure. Well, maybe, but I'm not throwing out North Augusta. I'm not throwing away Gray. No. I'm not throwing away Flora. They had a bad night against South Point, but I'm not going to throw them away. South Florence is still really good. I'm not counting out Camden. Camden makes deep playoff runs every year, it seems like. So who's to say this year is not the year that Remph gets him one? And at least 3. That's what I'm saying. And at least 3, I might be able to count out 4A. But it's going to be a really fun playoff push here over the next couple of weeks, and then as we get into round 1, round 2, and so on and so forth.
All right, we got to hit our last break, and next is Cole Bryson, the voice of the Burns Rebels, and we're looking forward to talking upstate football. See you next.
Morning, Carl. Usual?
Yeah.
Your oldest was in here the other day. Said the 2 of you took a trip down to my neck of the woods. How'd that go?
You might as well give me one of those Carolina cars while you're at it.
I knew I liked that one.
Yeah.
There you go, my friend.
Thanks.
Hey, Carl. Congratulations.
See you tomorrow, Freddie.
You bet.
Welcome to Dry Space Crawl Space Solutions. Basement crawl space encapsulation designed for your specific needs. Your crawl space can be susceptible to all sorts of issues, including moisture buildup, mold growth, and structural damage if not cared for properly. Let our trained experts provide basement crawl space encapsulation solutions to protect your home, improve air quality, and enhance energy efficiency. Schedule your consultation today for a safer, healthier space at dryspacecs.com.
Do your wood floors need a touch-up? Visit recoatrevolution.com in South Carolina today. Welcome back to 4 Quarter Friday, part of the Chief Sports Network. Let's talk ball.
Welcome back to the 4 Quarter Friday show. We dig into the upstate, and we have Cole Bryson joining us here in just a second. We were having some technical difficulties, so we're waiting for him to get back in, Justin. But I think we got Cole back, actually. Let's see. Cole, can you hear us? Not yet. All right. Let's see. We're having some technical difficulties. So while we work that out,
Steve, I'll handle the run through if you want to try to
thanks.
get him squared away. We hit the upstate now as these games continue to roll through. The Blue Flashes of Calhoun Charter Falls are going to Abbeville tonight. The Panthers are 4-2. Trying to tweet out another Ric Flair gift tonight when they win, if they can do it. Chesterfield goes to Andrew Jackson tonight. The Volunteers host the Rams. Both teams coming in at 3-3. One needing a region win. The Seneca Wildcats go to Berea tonight. Berea 1-5 on the season. Seneca Wildcats sitting at 6-1. Greer, the Yellow Jackets, are going to Blue Ridge tonight. Blue Ridge, the Tigers are 4-2. The Generals of Wade Hampton need themselves a win, and they need one bad. They're 0-6, and they're going to Boiling Springs tonight to take on the Bulldogs. Indian Land. What does Indian Land have to do to get ranked in the media? I am standing on the table for the Warriors of Indian Land, my friends. I believe they deserve to be ranked. I will consider myself an Indian Land apologist right now. Here's why. They're going to Catawba Ridge tonight. They're 4-2. Catawba Ridge 4-2. Indian Land 6-0. The record is what the record is. But Steve leaves this note. They've only allowed 48 points this season. 48 in 6 games. I'm not the best at math, but I believe that's about 8 points per game. Indian Land with a win tonight, 7-0. They should be ranked next week. I'll get my media folks on the phone. The Red Devils of Clinton are 4-3. They're going to Chesney tonight to take on. And thank you, Brandon. I don't know why our thing corrected to Wildcats. I think I switched some names around. Of course they're the same. Of course they are. Clinton is 4-3, going to Chesney 4-2. We pride ourselves on being correct and making sure we have things squared away. The Griffins of Fairfield Central go to Chester tonight to take on the Cyclones. And the Wolverines of Whitmire go to Dixie. Dixie's 5-1. And look at that. Just in time, we get to what I believe could be the game of the week, at least one of them in the upstate. I got 3 of them circled here. Burns is going to Gaffney. And with us talking about Burns, who better to talk about Burns than Cole Bryson, play-by-play voice of the Burns Rebels. Cole, great to have you back. A repeating guest, one of our few repeating guests we've had this season. How you doing? Ready for a big-time matchup on the reservation tonight, I'm sure.
Yeah, honored to be a repeat. Glad I got the invite back and didn't screw it up the first time. And if I was any better, guys, my last name would be Hall.
Well, not all of us can be great, Cole. Let's talk about this Burns Gaffney game, because here's what I always say, and I think I've mentioned this with Steve and Elijah Campbell, and I talk about this on 107.5 on Friday nights as well. Gaffney doesn't play normal football games. I can't remember a game Gaffney's played where it's just been ho-hum, normal, everything goes like you think. We just had a Harvest Moon, and you guys have to go up to the reservation. Trepidation, because this game can just get wacky and weird by the second quarter.
Yeah, it's wacky. And to your point about Gaffney, they have always kind of had the knack of being able just to figure out how to win games, right? And being up at home, being at the reservation certainly helps. To kind of prove your point, I'll give you an example. Last year, a season ago, Burns was without running back Trace Aguirre for most of the year. You're talking about a historically bad Burns offense a season ago. They go up to Gaffney, regular season, and guys, total offensive yards, Gaffney had 406 yards of offense against Burns last year. 406 yards compared to 46 yards of offense for Burns. So almost outgained Burns last year in one game by 400 yards. You would think if I told you that Gaffney blew the doors off of Burns. However, guess what? Final score 15-9 in double overtime. Burns, again, double overtime game, almost outgained by 400 yards. Point being, with Gaffney Burns, I know it's like cliche, you throw everything out the record, throw everything out the window, but it's true with Gaffney Burns. You can truly throw everything out. You never know what you're going to get, and sometimes those games are a little bit funky.
They are. I remember that game. I remember thinking, how in the world? I'm looking at the stats coming out at halftime, and how in the world is Burns still in this football game?
Yeah.
And my heart went out to the Rebels because you guys played on the road all year last year, so that was nothing new. I was thinking, man, these guys can't buy a win right now, as it seems. This Gaffney offense, this Gaffney program, to start the season, you thought the sky was falling. I'll put it that way. The talk coming out of Gaffney was, what is going on? This is not how we do things. But now you look up, it's the second Friday in October, and the Indians are sitting here at 3-0 in the region, 4-2 overall, and everything's fine. Burns stubbed your toe against Dorman, but outside of that, Burns has had a renaissance year. Of course, a close loss to Irmo as well. Cole, just looking at this game as you size this one up tonight in 2025, what's the key to victory for the Rebels tonight on the reservation?
It's interesting when you talk about preparing for Gaffney tonight. To your point, Justin, it's a completely different Gaffney team. So keys for Burns to get the win. Well, you look at it. Okay, you've got Banks Boughton at quarterback, transfer into the program first year, who was splitting snaps with quarterback Javon Gilmore, former Arkansas commit. And you just mentioned Gaffney's 1-2 start, the sky falling. Well, what do us media guys know, right? We don't know what we're talking about. I've only said for years that when you run a 2 quarterback system, it's not going to work. And we've seen that. We saw it at Burns last year. It didn't work last year for Burns when they were rotating Zy Landrum and Kane Rogers. I'm not saying it never works and it doesn't have its time or place, but Gaffney was rotating Javon Gilmore and Banks Boughton to start the year, and it didn't work, guys. Like, their offense was not good. Now, their offense is not like all of a sudden great, but they're able to actually move the ball. Their run game is fantastic now with Josiah Hill at running back and Banks Boughton at quarterback. My point being, it didn't work having 2 quarterbacks. Unfortunately, Javon Gilmore, for him, he left the program. Fortunately for Gaffney, now they don't have the 2 quarterback system anymore. And look at that. Things are starting to work smoothly for the Gaffney offense again. But, what do we know? Tonight, Burns is going to have to somehow, some way, guys, contain this run game, this rushing attack for Gaffney. It's not a traditional Gaffney offense where they're like airing it out all over the field, big plays. They have big play capability, but it's more of a ground attack between Banks Boughton, Josiah Hill running back, 215-pound running back, give or take. So he's going to be tough to bring down. Burns, in a big game a few weeks ago against Dorman, quarterback Kane Rogers had 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, one of which was a pick six, and he fumbled the football. In a region game, especially in Region 2-5A, you can't have turnovers. You can't have that many turnovers. So tonight, winning the turnover battle is going to be big for Burns if they want to get the win. But ultimately, I believe they've got to somehow subdue this Gaffney rushing attack.
Cole, thanks for joining us again. There's another game we got to get your take on. The Greenville Red Raiders are going to play at Greenwood. What do you see coming out of this game tonight? I mean, this is a huge game for Greenwood. They got 1 loss in the region. Greenville's 3-0.
Yeah. They are, man. I saw Greenwood on our bye week. I went over and watched them play against Dorman, and Dorman had Greenwood dead to rights in the 4th quarter, had that game won. But, man, let me tell you this. It is tonight. I told another friend of mine that Greenwood could be a sneaky good game. Now, Greenville, I don't believe, has the guys to match Greenwood talent for talent, especially on Greenville's defense, going up against a really awesome, really potent Greenwood offense. But look, you talk about what Tristan can do at quarterback for the Eagles, the playmaker ability. You've got to figure out a way to get out of that game without allowing the big plays if you're Greenville. If you do allow the big plays by the quarterback, I think Greenwood could kind of run away with it. But who knows? Scoot Watson, man, he's done a great job. And his short tenure at Greenville turned J.L. Mann around a few years ago. So I'm not counting him out tonight. I just think ultimately they might have to play a near perfect game in order to get the win.
I was a big believer in Greenwood, Cole, early in the year. I felt really confident in saying I believe they were a legitimate state championship contender. I've since backed off of that because I need to see them consistently stop the run. When Greenwood doesn't stop the run, they're in trouble. And Tristan Lewis is a great athlete, and I agree. I think they've got a great offense, but man, they can run the ball, but they struggle to stop the run at times, and they can be like a sieve. They can get that figured out. I like their chances. Now, they did get a big win over Dorman earlier this year. And we really quickly need to touch on Dorman. I know you're the play-by-play guy for Burns, and I know that might be sacrilege, but Dorman's 5-1, y'all. Dorman's 5-1, and they are really good. If they beat Spartanburg tonight, driver's seat in the region is theirs. It really has set up that way. You saw them in person when they took on Burns. What's making that engine go in a renaissance year for Dorman as well as Burns?
Michael Lancaster is making that engine go. Offensive line coach for the Dorman Cavaliers, who spent most of his career at Dorman. He left Dorman and went to Travelers Rest and then Spartanburg for a few years when Dave Gutshaw left Dorman and retired or was pushed out, however you want to phrase it. Dorman then goes and hires Dustin Curtis, who is now at Lexington as the AD. He was there for 1 year. They come back. They hire Jake Morris, one of their own. Things are not going well for Dorman. They're losing ball games. They're winning like 3 games a year, and all of a sudden, this Dorman team that we all come to know of being a perennial power year in and year out, guys, they were far from it. So, number one, Dorman, I've said it multiple times, Dorman made a mistake of letting Michael Lancaster go in the first place. Number two, they got him back. Jake Morris is the head coach. Hire of the year, getting that guy back, as well as Jason Farmer, who was at Landrum and Broome, coming in to call plays. So they've got consistency on staff that they haven't had in the past couple of years. And when you talk about their run game, their offensive line is unbelievable. When they beat Burns a couple of weeks ago, they just bullied Burns up front. And it's not often you see that happen in Region 2-5A, but Dorman's got the guys both on the offensive line and the defensive line to bully you. And when you talk about the reason for Dorman's success, yeah, Meek Slidell, the quarterback from Asheville, is good. Yeah, Nick Means is really good at running back. But when you have the ability to play bully ball up front, guys, that's what Dorman does right now. And I like them. They're a one-loss team, and they had the ball with a few seconds remaining, like less than a minute to go against Greenwood in that game, and had like 4 penalties on one drive. Greenwood gets the ball back, goes and forces overtime. We all know how that ended, but they're as good, I believe, as a team as across the state of South Carolina you're going to see, just because of how physical they can be up front on the line of scrimmage.
Cole Bryson with the fan upstate and the play-by-play voice for the Burns Rebels. And if you want to catch what they do on Saturday morning, the Saturday morning scramble is must listen. And you don't have to be just in the upstate to listen to it. It's the glory of the internet. You can be here in the Midlands and listen to it too. It's a wonderful thing. Cole, we appreciate you taking the time. We got to wrap up the show here in just a minute, and I got about 15 or 20 more games to get to because there's too many teams in the upstate, it seems. We appreciate you joining us, Cole.
Guys.
Look forward to a great game tonight up in Gaffney.
Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
That's Cole Bryson. All right, let's roll here, Steve. I got 3 minutes, and the preview show is getting ready to start. So let's crack the knuckles here. Let's see. JL Mann is at Hillcrest tonight. The Blacksburg Wildcats go to the Cardinals of Landrum. Lee Central goes to Louisville. Easley is at Malden. McCormick hosts Ware Shoals. Mountain View Prep hosts Chapman. Chapman's 0-6. Debo Samuel ain't walking through that door. Rock Hill goes to Nation Ford. The Fighting Jake Bentley's trying to get their first region win. Fort Mill had a 4-0 start. They're now 4-3. 0-3 in region, and it doesn't get any easier. They go take on Northwestern tonight, so my condolences. Batesburg-Leesville goes to 96. Why that's in here. Anyway, Southside Christian goes to Palmetto. Christ Church goes to Powdersville. Could be a game of the week if you're watching these games tonight. That game could get really fun really quickly. I like what Powdersville's got going. They're 4-2. They beat Abbeville earlier this year. East Side is at Riverside. South Point took down York last night on Thursday night, 41-0. The Lawrence Raiders are 0-6. They're going to Southside, who are 0-6 as well. Someone's got to win. I think that's how this game works. We just talked about Dorman. They're going to Spartanburg to take on the Vikings, who are 3-3. Again, another great game in the upstate there. The Trojans of Carolina go to St. Joseph's Catholic. Woodmont goes to T.L. Hanna. Daniel goes to Travelers Rest. Broome is going to Union County. The Razorbacks of Walhalla are 0-6. They host Pendleton tonight. West Oak hosts Crescent. West Side is 2-4, but 1-0 in region. They host Emerald. And the Fountain Inn Fury are 4-2. They go to Wren, who are also 4-2 and 1-0 in that region. Another potentially great game in region play there between Fountain Inn and Wren. Steve, we got it in under the gun, man.
Barely. And yeah, I mean, watch out for those two teams that are in Powdersville, South Carolina. Wren and Powdersville playing really good football. We go to the Gamecock preview show next. Be sure to catch the Chief Sports app and watch Watch out for those scores on the scoreboard, and then also this live streams as well for another 4-Quarter Friday on a great Friday morning. Have a great weekend.
From the Low Country to the Upstate, from the Midlands to the PD, we've got you covered. This is our state. South Carolina matters to us, all of South Carolina. We love talking ball, and we love talking ball with you. Thank you for tuning in to the 4-Quarter Friday High School Show. Every Friday at 9 a.m. on the Chief Sports Network. Now, back to Justin and Steve.
Okie dokie.